Thanks for joining me on Life and Surround. I just got done cranking Trace Hombres by ZZ Top in quadraphonic. I cranked this baby on my quad station, an Oppo Blu-ray player, and four circa 1992 Klipsch towers, some KGs, KG 5.5 up front, KG 5.2 in the back. Sometimes you guys want to know what I'm listening on, and an Emotiva A4 quadraphonic amplifier. Anyway, this is from batch 7 of Quadio from Rhino Records. Thanks to Steve Woolard and Rhino Records and everyone on his team for persisting in rescuing original 70s quadraphonic recordings from oblivion, bringing them forward into the modern age on Blu-ray. So there's quadraphonic, there's a 4.0 stream on these Blu-rays and a stereo stream. Here we get some original artwork for Tres Hombres. So this is an original 70s quadraphonic mix. It's not going to be like most modern 5.1 or most modern Atmos mixes. And this is a cool example. I always like how they include a description of how quadraphonic works. Here's the back. So this quadraphonic album is an example of how you can really fill a room with a three-piece band. In some case, this recording is like a four-piece recording. So a lot of times you have just main vocal up front, bass up front with it. You have drums diagonally around you, and that actually does work. Kind of puts you in the midst of the drums, sort of, unless you like cock your ear to one side or the other. And then rhythm guitar part often like opposite the rear drums, and then often there's like multiple guitar layers, so guitars are going to sometimes be up in front, left, right as well. Sometimes lead guitar can be just kind of anywhere, like front, phantom, center. You have some Hammond B3 organ in Master of Sparks, so that is a particular arrangement that really fills out the room here in a way that it just stretches beyond that three-piece sound. And then also on the closing track, Have You Heard? I think you get the three guys all singing their own vocal parts. And so you have the main vocal front and center, but then you have a second vocal harmonizing over to the right. And you almost think that that's like a mix imbalance because it rides that way for a little bit, but then third verse shows up front left. So, and then you have drums in the diagonals and bass up front and center and some guitar work, over your left shoulder. So, and guitar work elsewhere in the room too. So, yeah, a lot can be done with a three piece and then with like an occasional, guest part. But even on the tracks that are, just strictly speaking three piece, the mix sounds full to me. The room feels full. This is heavy. This is so heavy. This is so heavy. I love it. I was absolutely able to just crank this sucker and it still sounded very pleasant. So my compliments for the mastering. And if I can just make one, buyer beware comment, as it says very clearly in the liner notes of this Blu-ray, they had to source it from a commercial open reel quadraphonic tape instead of what would be hoped for would be like the half-inch master tape. Um, The quadraphonic master can't be found, but to my ears, this transfer of a commercial tape sounds really, really great. I had this sucker cranked super, super loud, and in that case, I heard a bit of tape hiss during the very quietest parts of this album, like in between tracks and like during a couple pretty quiet musical moments, but just a brief moment here or there. And then later on, when I listened to this back at more of a sane audio level, I didn't notice the hiss at all. So, I mean, I had this cranked earlier. I had the house to myself. and then, keeping it more reasonable. I didn't notice any hiss at all. So I can recommend this album in terms of the content. This is a smoking ZZ Top album. I can recommend it in terms of the mix. I think it really, really does serve the music, and it shows off like what could be done with sparse arrangements with vintage 70s quad, and I think they pull it off. This is super heavy, and I like heavy hard rock. So and they also get, kind of mellow on a couple of tracks. There's some dynamics, there's some musical dynamics, there's a range, but overall, like I really, really love this. So just be aware that it's sourced from the commercial tape, which I appreciate that the record company called out. And in my opinion, it really is not enough to detract. So as I said, Tres Hombres is part of Rhino Records Quadio series, batch number 7. So next up, I'll be listening to Rod Stewart, Atlantic Crossing. Am I correct in that I think I heard that that is an unreleased quadraphonic mix, like the first time ever? Like not even like, an LP or a tape got released? I'm hearing that this is an unreleased quadraphonic mix that is seeing the light of day. So I will report back. I'm pretty sure I'll do a review of that. And then we have Gandharva. We have Gandharva, All Good Men, Beaver and Kraus. I have no idea what this is like. I just got it because it's a part of batch 7. And then we have the Modern Jazz Quartet, Blues on Bach. I like jazz quartets. I like blues, and I like Bach. So this should be a winner. And so I'll probably do some sort of Quadio Batch 7 ranking. I know that many of you like that. And so far, I've heard Tres Hombres by ZZ Top, and it just smokes. I can definitely recommend this. And if you go onto Rhino Records, their store, the Rhino store, and you are interested in this title and you want to bundle this purchase with maybe some Quadios that you have had your eye on for a while, like you can bundle any 4 Quadios together, and I think that qualifies for a bundle discount. Okay, so anyway, but I'll get around to the other 3 in this batch in case, there are those of you who are waiting on a review of all 4 of these. All right, so I appreciate you watching. I wholeheartedly recommend Tres Hombres by ZZ Top, the original 70s quadraphonic mix, now on Blu-ray from Rhino Records. And then, like I said, I'll be getting to the rest of Quadio Batch 7 as I can. And, they space these out, about once a quarter. So even if you listen just like once or twice a month, you're going to have a new Quadio, to get you through to the next batch. And since I'm at a very busy time of my life, to put things mildly, that's sort of how I have to do things. So anyway, thanks to Rhino Records for the Quadio series. Thanks for selecting Tres Hombres this time. I think it's a huge title. I love rock, and I know that a lot of my viewers do. I know that a lot of you do, and I know that a lot of like quadraphonic quad members do. Like there seems to be a rock preference of sorts. And then I always like that the Quadio batches have, something mellower and, stretch my musical palette a little bit sometimes. And so, yeah, Rod Stewart next, and then onward. Appreciate you watching. If you like what I do, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, perhaps considering picking up like a Life in Surround t-shirt. I'll leave a link to the Rhino store. I'll leave a link to my store down below. Leave comments. Tell everybody what you think about Quadio so far, about Batch 7. Any Batch 8 speculation is in fair play. What you think about Tres Hombres and Quad, if you've heard it, and appreciate just all of your interaction and your support. And until next time, let's all try to live life in surround.